Hello. Welcome back for part 6. Today we're going to be going over the north and south nodes. I updated the agenda. I want to go over, like I said, the north and south node, but I also want to go over stelliums, aspects, asteroids, house systems, and then I want to look at how you can figure out some indications about your love life and your career from your birth chart. So, the north and south node, they work together. They are the lunar nodes of the moon, and where they are in your chart is where they were when you were born. They are always exactly opposing each other, and they stay in the same sign for 1 to 5 years. Wait, that's not right. A year and a half. So, anyone born within a year and a half of you is going to have the same sign in their north and south node. But you're most likely going to have it in a different house, which plays a huge part in interpretation. The North Node kind of shows your destiny and what you're called to grow into over time, but the South Node shows what you came into this life with and what comes naturally to you. I personally don't believe in past lives, but that is a huge part in what a lot of people believe about the North and South nodes. They believe that the South Node is kind of what you achieved and what you came into this life with from your previous lives, and your North Node is what you're called to ascend into in this lifetime. So take from that what you will. And like I said, the house and sign they fall into play a huge part in interpretation. I'm going to take a crack at interpreting these charts, their north nodes at least. So this is my mom's chart. We've been looking at her chart for the past few episodes. Like we've talked about many times, she has a lot of action in her 10th house. And it really reflects in her life. She is a huge workaholic. Her work ethic is a huge part in her life. But as you can see, her little north node over here is in the 5th house. And the 5th house has to do with pleasure, fun, creativity, and art. It's ruled by Leo. And that's funny because her 10th house is in Leo. So that kind of connects the two. It kind of shows me that she's called to be creative in her career. Since it's in Pisces, that can kind of indicate that this creativity could be in maybe music or something spiritual, which she isn't really. She kind of is a musician. She's been a musician in the past, but it's not really something she's continued on with. And she is religious to an extent, but actually, she married a man with a Pisces stellium. So I kind of think that's what that was indicating, that she was going to end up married to somebody with a Pisces stellium. But she's actually the most creative person I know. She is always diving into little creative um, hobbies like baking. And for a while, she was making these super cute cupcake bath bombs that were like so beautiful and perfect looking. And in her job, she's always going above and beyond for her clients and making them things and she's always has to have the most beautiful presentation. Like if she bakes cookies for somebody, it has to look like it was bought at a store. She goes all out. So I kind of see that play out with her North Node there, that she just really is called to be creative and have fun and express her artistic side in this life. And since it's in the house ruled by Leo and she has a Leo stellium, like I said, that tells me that she's called to take that into her career, which she has. This is my chart. So my chart has the North Node in the 12th house. The 12th house has to do with spirituality, the unseen realm, creativity, because it's ruled by Neptune, music. I'm a very spiritual person. I grew up going to church 3 times a week. I went to ministry school. I feel like my destiny involves something to do with spirituality. Now that I'm into astrology, I see that playing a huge part in my destiny as well. As you can see, my North Node is literally 1 degree away from my moon. That means that I was born on an eclipse, and that means my North Node is not in retrograde. So most of the time, the lunar nodes are in retrograde, and I don't know the significations of that, but I'm sure it's not that big of a deal. But you can see that it's right next to my moon, so my destiny has a huge part to play in my emotions, and also it's right next to my Venus a little further away. So that can indicate that it is my destiny to love and experience love. The fact that all of this is in Scorpio signifies that I'm called to go into deep relationships and really just plunge the depths of what is the truth. And since it's in the 12th house, it can indicate that I'm supposed to seek out dark truths, like just go for it. And that is something that has played a huge part in my life. I have not shied away from controversial subjects because I feel called to learn about them and immerse myself in them and even be able to teach people about them. But that puts my south node in the 6th house, which has to do with everyday life. It has to do with your employment and service to others. Whereas the 12th house deals with spirituality and the unseen realm. So that can imply that I kind of go in between the two, like struggle between finding balance between the two. And Taurus deals with stability and possession. So I could potentially want to be secure and have stability in my life, but my North Node is calling me into the unseen realm and the unstable unknown. So that could potentially be a struggle for me. Moving on, this is my dad's chart. His is in Taurus. So if we look over at my mom's chart again, her Juno, which is the marriage asteroid, is in Taurus and it's at the 6th degree. And my dad's North Node is at the 10th degree, so 4 degrees away from her Juno in the same sign. So that's a pretty strong marriage indicator. I just want to throw that in there for free. But what's interesting about them is his North Node is in the 11th house, and that means his South Node's in the 5th house, whereas my mom's North Node is in the 5th house, and her South Node was in the 11th house. So that kind of indicates that my dad's life purpose was to influence people, and he did. Finally, we have a chart that threw me through a loop when I saw it. Okay, so this is my friend's chart, and she is very analytical and normal, and I saw all this action in the 8th house, which is the house of, it's ruled by Scorpio. It's about death, rebirth, transformation. And I was like, why does she have so much action in her 8th house? Her North Node is in there. It's next to her Juno, so that kind of implies that it's her destiny to be a wife someday. But after I looked more into what the 8th house actually signifies, it also signifies other people's money. And she is in finance. She has an economics degree and she is working for a financial advisor. And she someday is going to become a financial advisor herself. So that really makes a lot of sense. And Neptune implies, there's a creativity and spiritual component to her destiny, and Uranus involves technology and social media and advancement. And she runs their social media, so that kind of makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, it implies that her South Node is in Cancer, and I know for a long time it was just very much on her heart to be a wife and mom. She didn't really have a career plan, but life has called her to kind of put that on hold and pursue this career in finance. But like I said, she has this Juno here, so I know eventually she will end up becoming married. So just because your South Node implies that, you're going to want one thing doesn't mean you have to totally let go of what the South Node is indicating, because obviously in this scenario, she's going to be able to have both, but she just has to achieve this career goal first. So that is all I'm going to say about the North Node. I hope that was educational. This was almost 10 minutes, so that's way longer than all my other videos I've done, but there's just a lot to say about the North Node. It's very interesting. It's probably the most important part of your chart. Next time we're going to go over stellium, so I'll see you then.